You wake slowly, gently, to the soft rustle of reeds around your simple dwelling. The morning light filters through woven pedate mats that cover your doorway, casting dancing shadows across the packed earth floor beneath you. Your bed is a low platform made of dried reeds and cotton, soft and welcoming. The cotton grows wild here in the warm lands, picked by gentle hands and woven into fabric that feels like clouds against your skin. You stretch slowly, feeling the coolness of the early morning air on your face. Outside your reed hut, you can hear the gentle lapping of water against the wooden posts that support your home. This is Tenochtitlan, the great island city, built on the waters of Lake Texcoco. Your home sits on stilts, like thousands of others, rising peacefully from the calm lake waters. The reeds that surround you sway softly in the morning breeze, making a sound like gentle whispers. These are tule reeds, tall and graceful, growing in thick clusters around the edges of the canals. The Mexica people have used these reeds for generations, weaving them into mats, baskets, and the walls of homes like yours. You sit up slowly, letting your eyes adjust to the soft morning light. Through the gaps in the reed walls, you can see the water dark and mirror-like, reflecting the pale sky above. Small waves create tiny ripples, spreading outward in perfect circles, disappearing into the distance. The air smells of fresh water and growing things, and the faint sweetness of morning glory flowers that climb along the reed walls. Ipomaea, the morning glory, opens its purple and white blooms only in the early hours, closing again when the sun grows strong. You can hear the soft splash of paddles in the distance as early travelers move through the canals in their canoes. The sound is rhythmic, peaceful, like a gentle heartbeat on the water. These are acali, the dugout canoes carved from single tree trunks, gliding silently through the waterways that connect every part of this floating city. Standing slowly, you feel the slight movement of your home, swaying gently with the water below. This is the rhythm of life in Tenochtitlan, always moving, always flowing, like the lake itself. The posts that hold your dwelling are made of strong awiwadi wood, the sacred cypress that grows to enormous size, living for hundreds of years beside the water. You walk to the doorway, pushing aside the pedate mat, and step onto the small wooden platform that extends over the water. This is your private dock, where your own small canoe waits, tied with soft maguey fiber rope. The rope is made from the maguey plant, the century plant that grows on the hillsides, providing fiber for rope, paper for books, and sweet nectar for drinks. The water below is clear and clean, filtered naturally by the reeds and water plants that grow throughout the lake. You can see small fish swimming lazily beneath the surface, their silver scales catching the early light. These are probably amaranth fish, or perhaps small carp, swimming in schools through the underwater forests of lake grass. Above you, the sky. In the distance, you can hear the soft calls of water birds waking for the day. Herons, standing motionless in the shallows, waiting patiently for unwary fish. Ducks, dabbling in the deeper water, their feathers shedding droplets that catch the light like tiny jewels. Coots, diving beneath the surface, disappearing and reappearing like magic. The morning is so quiet, so peaceful, that you can hear the gentle sound of water plants swaying beneath the surface. Cattails, their brown seed heads soft and velvety, releasing tiny seeds that float on the morning breeze. Water lilies, their broad leaves creating platforms for frogs and insects, their white flowers beginning to open as the light grows stronger. You lower yourself carefully into your canoe, feeling the smooth wood beneath your hands. This canoe was carved by skilled craftsmen, shaped from a single piece of pine, hollowed out with stone tools and fire, polished smooth with sand and patient rubbing. The wood still smells faintly of resin, sweet and comforting. Taking up your paddle, carved from the same pine and worn smooth by many hands, you push gently away from your platform. The canoe glides forward silently, parting the water with barely a sound. This is how the Mexica people have traveled for centuries, in harmony with the water, moving like thoughts across the surface of dreams. The canal that runs past your home is lined with other reed houses, each one unique, each one a peaceful home for a family like yours. Some are larger, with multiple rooms, their walls decorated with painted designs in red and blue. Others are simple, like yours, but each one clean and well-maintained, a testament to the skill of their builders. Gardens float between the houses, small islands of earth held in place by woven reed fences. These are chinampas, the floating gardens that feed the city, created by piling rich lake-bottom mud onto rafts of reeds and branches. In these gardens grow tomatoes, beans, squash, chili peppers, and flowers, all tended with loving care. As you paddle slowly along the canal, you pass beneath bridges made of wood and stone, connecting the different sections of the city. These bridges are works of art, carved with images of water birds, decorated with shells and polished stones, built to last for generations. The water beneath your canoe is home to countless creatures, most of them so small you cannot see them, but all of them part of the great web of life that makes this lake a paradise. Tiny water fleas, invisible plankton, algae that turn the water faintly green, all feeding the fish that feed the birds that fill the sky with music. You paddle past a small shrine built on stilts over the water, dedicated to Calcayetlacu, she of the jade skirt, the goddess of rivers and streams. Fresh flowers have been placed there, marigolds and cosmos, their bright colors reflected in the dark water below. The shrine is small and simple, just a stone platform and a wooden roof, but it radiates peace and tranquility. The morning air is warming now, as the sun climbs higher over the eastern mountains. But here on the water, surrounded by the breathing presence of the lake, the temperature remains perfect, cool and comfortable, like a gentle embrace. You can smell the breakfast fires beginning in the houses around you, the smoke rising straight up in the still air. carrying the sense of cooking corn, toasted seeds, chocolate being ground with spices. These are the smells of home, of comfort, of a civilization that has learned to live in perfect harmony with its environment. A great blue heron stands motionless in the shallows ahead, its reflection creating a perfect double image in the still water. You paddle closer, moving slowly so as not to disturb this magnificent bird. It stands nearly as tall as you, its blue-gray feathers perfectly still, its yellow eyes fixed on the water below. The heron represents patience, the virtue most valued by the wise teachers of Tenochtitlan. Like the heron, the Mexica people have learned to wait, to watch, to move only when the time is right, to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. As you pass, the heron turns its head slightly, acknowledging your presence, but does not move from its fishing spot. This is the relationship between humans and nature in this floating city. Respectful, peaceful, each allowing the other to exist without interference. You paddle on, following the gentle curves of the canal. You pass gardens where early workers are already tending their plants, their movements slow and deliberate, their voices soft and musical as they greet each other in Nahuatl, the flowing language of the Mexica people. The words drift across the water like music. Quali tlanisai, good dawn. Kainin o titlahuan? How did you sleep? Conversations that have been repeated here for hundreds of years, connecting this morning to all the mornings that came before and all that will come after. A family of ducks swims across your path, the mother leading, followed by her ducklings in a perfect line. Their small voices peep softly as they paddle their tiny feet. You pause, letting them pass, watching their wakes spread in tiny V-shapes behind them, disturbing the mirror surface of the water for just a moment before it returns to perfect stillness. The ducklings are covered in soft down, yellow and brown, designed by nature to keep them warm and dry, even when they dive beneath the surface. They represent new life, hope, the continuation of the endless cycle that keeps this lake paradise alive and thriving. You notice water lilies beginning to open their white petals to the morning sun. Their broad leaves create platforms for water striders and dragonflies. The lily's roots reach deep into the lake bottom, anchoring them against the gentle currents, while their flowers float serenely on the surface, bridges between the underwater world and the world of air and light. The morning light is growing stronger now, turning the water from dark mirror to dancing silver, creating patterns that shift and change with every breath of wind. This is the light that has inspired Mexica artists for generations. The light they capture in their paintings and sculptures. The light that makes this floating city seem like a dream made real. As you paddle deeper into the network of canals, you pass beneath an aqueduct, one of the great engineering marvels that brings fresh water from the mainland to every part of the city. The aqueduct is built of stone and wood, designed to expand and contract with changes in temperature, to flex with earthquakes, to last for centuries while requiring minimal maintenance. The fresh water flows through carved stone channels, separated from the slightly salty lake water, ensuring that every household has access to clean drinking water. This is the mark of a civilization that cares for all its people, that understands that clean water is the foundation of health and happiness. You can hear the gentle sound of the water flowing through the aqueduct above, a soft murmur like distant conversation, adding its voice to the symphony of sounds that makes up the morning music of Tenochtitlan. Water dripping, birds calling, paddles splashing, voices singing, all blending together in perfect harmony. A butterfly lands on the front of your canoe, its wings a brilliant blue and black, closing and opening slowly as it rests. This is probably a blue morpho, one of the largest butterflies in the world. Its wings span nearly 6 inches. Their blue color is created not by pigment, but by the microscopic structure of the wing scales reflecting light and patterns that seem almost magical. The butterfly sits quietly for a long moment, its antennae moving gently, tasting the air for the scent of flowers. Then it lifts off, floating away on wings that catch the light like stained glass, disappearing among the reeds and morning glory vines that line the canal. Butterflies were sacred to the Mexica people, symbols of transformation, of the soul's journey from this world to the next, of the endless cycle of death and rebirth that governs all life. To have one land on your canoe is considered a blessing, a sign that the day will bring peace and happiness. You pause in a wide spot in the canal, where several waterways meet, and let your canoe drift with the gentle current. This is one of the many plazas of the Water City, a place where neighbors meet, where news is shared, where the social life of the community unfolds at a pace as gentle as the flowing water. Several other canoes float nearby, their occupants in no hurry to reach their destinations, content to enjoy the peace of the morning, to exchange quiet greetings, to share in the communal pleasure of being alive in this floating paradise. An elderly woman in one of the canoes offers you a cup of atoll, the warm drink made from ground corn, flavored with vanilla and sweetened with honey. You accept gratefully, tasting the rich flavors that have nourished the people of this region for thousands of years, feeling the warmth spread through your body like liquid sunshine. The corn used to make atoll is special, a variety developed by patient farmers over many generations, selected for its ability to grow in the floating gardens, for its nutritional value, for its pleasant taste when ground and cooked. This corn is more than food. It is the foundation of civilization, the gift of the gods to their chosen people. As you sip the atoll, you can taste the limestone-treated kernels, processed with lime water to make the nutrients more available, to create the distinctive flavor that marks this as true Mexica cooking. The lime comes from burning seashells, brought from the distant ocean by long-distance traders, connecting this mountain lake to the wider world of commerce and culture. The vanilla that flavors your drink comes from orchids that grow in the humid forests to the east, climbing high into the canopy where they bloom with flowers that must be hand-pollinated to produce the precious pods. The vanilla trade connects Tenochtitlan to tropical regions hundreds of miles away, bringing exotic flavors to enhance the simple pleasure of ground corn and water. Honey, the sweetener that makes everything taste like sunshine, comes from stingless bees that nest in hollow logs in the forests surrounding the valley. These bees, smaller than their European cousins but equally industrious, produce honey that is prized throughout the Mexico world for its delicate flavor and medicinal properties. The butterfly sits quietly for a long moment, its antennae moving gently, tasting the air for the scent of flowers. Then it lifts off, floating away on wings that catch the light like stained glass, disappearing among the reeds and morning glory vines that line the canal. Butterflies were sacred to the Mexica people, symbols of transformation, of the soul's journey from this world to the next, of the endless cycle of death and rebirth that governs all life. To have one land on your canoe is considered a blessing, a sign that the day will bring peace and happiness. You pause in a wide spot in the canal, where several waterways meet, and let your canoe drift with the gentle current. This is one of the many plazas of the Water City, a place where neighbors meet, where news is shared, where the social life of the community unfolds, at a pace as gentle as the flowing water. Several other canoes float nearby, their occupants in no hurry to reach their destinations, content to enjoy the peace of the morning, to exchange quiet greetings, to share in the communal pleasure of being alive in this floating paradise. An elderly woman in one of the canoes offers you a cup of atole, the warm drink made from ground corn, flavored with vanilla and sweetened with honey. You accept gratefully, tasting the rich flavors that have nourished the people of this region for thousands of years, feeling the warmth spread through your body like liquid sunshine. The corn used to make atole is special, a variety developed by patient farmers over many generations, selected for its ability to grow in the floating gardens, for its nutritional value, for its pleasant taste when ground and cooked. This corn is more than food. It is the foundation of civilization, the gift of the gods to their chosen people. As you sip the atole, you can taste the limestone-treated kernels, processed with lime water to unlock the nutrients and create the distinctive flavor that marks this as true Mexica cooking. The lime comes from burning seashells, brought from the distant ocean by long-distance traders, connecting this mountain lake to the wider world of commerce and culture. The vanilla that flavors your drink comes from orchids that grow in the humid forests to the east, climbing high into the canopy, where they bloom with flowers that must be hand-pollinated to produce the precious pods. The vanilla trade connects Tenochtitlan to tropical regions hundreds of miles away, bringing exotic flavors to enhance the simple pleasure of ground corn and water. Honey, the sweetener that makes everything taste like sunshine, comes from stingless bees that nest in hollow logs, in the forests surrounding the valley. These bees, smaller than their European cousins but equally industrious, produce honey that is prized throughout the Mexico world for its delicate flavor and medicinal properties. You finish the atoll slowly, savoring each sip, feeling grateful for the kindness of strangers, for the abundance of the lake, for the perfect balance of flavors that makes even the simplest food a celebration. This is the essence of life in Tenochtitlan, the understanding that happiness comes not from possessing many things, but from appreciating deeply the simple gifts that surround us every day. The elderly woman smiles as you return her cup, her face lined with years of laughter and wisdom, her eyes bright with the joy of sharing. She speaks softly in Nahuatl, wishing you a day filled with beauty, her words like music floating across the water, joining the endless symphony of human kindness that keeps the city alive. Other canoes begin to move away, their occupants heading to the floating gardens, to the markets, to temples, to the 1,000 daily tasks that keep a great city functioning. But no one hurries, no one shows signs of stress or anxiety. Everyone moves with the calm rhythm of people who understand that life is meant to be savored, not rushed through. You are in no hurry. Your canoe floats gently, drifting toward the eastern edge of the canal system, where the floating gardens spread like a green tapestry across the still waters of the lake. These are the Chinampas, islands not made by nature, but by human hands, formed by layering mud and vegetation over beds of reeds. A brilliant design that turned water into farmland and sustained an entire city in perfect balance with nature. The morning mist is beginning to lift, revealing orderly rows of corn, beans, squash, tomatoes, chilies, their leaves heavy with dew, glowing in the new light, rooted deep in dark, fertile soil, constantly fed by the nutrient-rich waters of the lake. You notice the gardeners already at work, their movements slow, meditative, a quiet choreography in tune with the wind, the water, the bird song. They speak little, their voices soft, their words fading into the rhythm of nature, creating a harmony where people and plants grow side by side in mutual peace. You glide to the edge, beaching your canoe on a small dock of woven reeds, tied with maguey rope to wooden stakes buried deep in the lake bed. The dock sways, but it holds, simple yet ingenious, like so much of this world. As you step out, you feel the soft give of the platform under your feet, built to move with the lake, to last through seasons, to be reborn easily when time demands. The air is filled with the scent of green life, moist earth, flowers beginning to open, the quiet perfume of a place where everything grows as it should. You walk a path between the gardens, your steps silent. The workers greet you with gentle nods, welcoming you without words. These people know the power of silence. They know the earth listens best when the world is still. An old man tends to tomatoes, red and green gems hanging heavy on curling vines. These tomatoes, unknown to distant lands, are simply food here, precious, nurtured, enough. He meets your gaze, smiles, says nothing, just points proudly at what he has grown, not as an owner, but as a guardian entrusted with the care of something sacred. Nearby, a woman harvests chilies, deep green, bright red, golden orange, each with its own fire, its own history. She moves like a dancer, choosing carefully, adding each pepper to her woven basket with grace. The chilies are ancient, unique, shaped by centuries of care, each variety holding a secret in its seeds, each one a memory of the hands that shaped it. A young boy glides past you in a narrow canoe, spreading black, rich mud over the garden beds. His motions are practiced, fluid, unhurried. He knows what he is doing. He's learned not just the technique, but the rhythm. The mud is a gift from the lake, filled with minerals, decayed plants, nutrients from faraway mountains. It is life, given freely, accepted humbly. You pause by a patch of beans, growing in spirals around wooden poles, heart-shaped leaves reaching for light. Flowers bloom at their tips, and bees drift lazily from one to the next. These beans are one of the three sisters, grown with corn and squash. Together, they thrive. The beans enrich the soil, the corn gives them something to climb, and the squash shades the earth, keeping it moist and cool. A woman tending them speaks softly, explaining how the plants mirror the people, each different, each necessary, each better as part of the whole. The breeze off the lake is warm now, carrying the smell of water and growing things, blending them into the gentle fragrance of balance, of a world in harmony. You walk to where garden meets lake and see fish swimming among the roots, darting in sunlight, feeding the plants with their waste. Living in clean water the plants have filtered. This is a circle, perfect and endless. Nothing wasted, everything shared. Dragonflies hover over the water's edge, wings catching light, darting with sudden grace, protecting the plants from harm. Insects. They are tiny guardians, part of the plan. In the shallows, a white egret stands perfectly still, watching, waiting, the very image of patience. It needs nothing more than time, and time here moves slowly. Its reflection shimmers in the still surface, a mirror image, sky and bird, earth and water, one and the same. You sit on a low stone ledge by the water's edge, warmed by the sun, cooled by the breeze, surrounded by peace. The stone beneath you is carved with simple patterns, pleasing, not distracting, made to calm the eye and settle the mind. Here, beauty serves life, not the other way around. You breathe deeply, your body becoming still, your breath slow, your heartbeat steady, like the pulse of the lake, like the rhythm of this living garden. Here, you are part of it all, and it is enough. Small waves lap against the stone platform, making soft sounds like whispered secrets, carrying messages from distant parts of the lake, bringing word of sunrise on the eastern shore, of birds beginning their daily flights, of flowers opening their petals to greet the light. You close your eyes and listen to the symphony of morning, water gently shifting, leaves rustling in the breeze, birds calling from the reeds, soft voices of gardeners tending their plots, children laughing as they drift past in canoes, all the sounds blending into a music more beautiful than anything composed by human hands. This is the sound of peace, of a civilization in balance with its surroundings, of people who have learned that joy does not come from mastery over nature, but from joining the rhythm of life that includes all beings, from the smallest insect to the tallest cypress. The air is rich with the scent of life, the smell of growing things, fresh water, with smoke from morning fires, flowers beginning to release their perfume into the warming air. These are the smells of home, of comfort and safety, of a world where every breath brings calm instead of worry. You open your eyes to see a turtle resting on a piece of driftwood, its shell gleaming in the golden light, ancient eyes watching the water with quiet knowing. Turtles live for many human lifetimes, holding memories of seasons long past, symbols of endurance and patience. The turtle is the earth itself, steady and enduring, carrying life on its back, slow moving but always in motion, journeying towards some distant horizon that only time can see. In the stories of the Mexica, the world is born on the back of a great turtle swimming through the cosmic waters, and every river, every lake, is a memory of that ancient ocean. A kingfisher cries from a dead branch, its feathers flashing blue and white in the morning light, crest raised as it watches the water's surface. Suddenly, it dives, vanishing beneath the ripples, and emerges a moment later with a silver fish in its beak. A perfect moment of instinct and precision shaped by time. The bird flies to another branch to eat, part of the great cycle of life feeding on life, of nourishment born from death, of balance maintained through ancient patterns too intricate for the human mind to grasp. This is nature's way, endless, interconnected, eternal. You rise slowly, your body loose and light, your spirit refreshed by the morning stillness, your heart open to whatever beauty the day will offer. As you step back into your canoe, the wood warm from the sun, you notice how the water has changed with the light, from dark mirror to silver shimmer, from mystery to clarity. reminding you that even the most familiar things become new when seen from another angle. This too is wisdom, the kind taught in Tenochtitlan, that truth shifts with light and time, that understanding grows not from clinging, but from openness, from the willingness to see again, and again, and again. You push away from the stone platform, the canoe gliding silently forward, deeper into the living garden, into the quiet wonder of a world in perfect balance. The morning is still young, full of promise, full of beauty waiting quietly to be discovered, full of gentle adventures that will nourish your soul and calm your spirit, preparing you for the sweet rest that comes to those who live in harmony with the natural world. Your paddle glides smoothly through the water, tracing small whirlpools that catch the light and spin it into shimmering patterns of gold and silver. Tiny galaxies of reflected sunshine appearing for a moment, then fading away. Reminders that every moment is fleeting, every breath a gift, every heartbeat a blessing. The reeds whisper softly as you pass, their voices joining the morning symphony, welcoming you to another day in paradise. Another chapter in the endless story of humans learning to live as part of nature instead of apart from it. Another chance to witness the miracle of life in perfect balance. As your canoe carries you forward, drifting gently with the current toward the wonders that await, your eyelids grow heavy, your breathing deepens and slows, your mind lets go of the waking world's concerns, allowing the peace of the floating gardens to wash over you like warm water. The morning breeze carries the scent of water lilies, the distant song of birds, the gentle lap of small waves against reed stalks, all blending into a lullaby more soothing than any human voice, more comforting than any earthly music. Your eyelids close. The morning mist rises from the warm water, carrying your thoughts upward into the pale sky, where they drift like soft, shapeless clouds, free from the weight of earthly worries. You drift peacefully, gently, into a deep, restful sleep, cradled by the floating gardens of Tenochtitlan, protected by the ancient wisdom of the lake, held safely in the embrace of a world where humans and nature dance together in perfect harmony. The morning sun continues its slow climb above the eastern mountains, painting the water with strokes of gold and silver, blessing another day in this floating paradise. Another chapter in the endless story of peace, beauty, and gentle dreams. ## Chapter 2. Among the Floating Gardens. You wake again, slowly, gently, finding yourself floating peacefully in your canoe among the chinampas, the floating gardens that stretch like green islands across the shallow waters of Lake Texcoco. The morning mist lifts, revealing a world so beautiful it seems a dream made visible, a paradise shaped by human hands working in perfect harmony with nature's design. Your canoe rocks softly in the quiet water, held in place by the tender current flowing between the garden plots, carrying nutrients from one patch to another, connecting every plant, every gardener, weaving a web of mutual care and shared abundance. Around you, the chinampas stretch out in neat, orderly rows, each one a small island of cultivated earth, held firmly in place by walls woven from reeds and branches, anchored by the roots of willows and other water-loving trees growing along the edges, their sturdy trunks acting as natural posts that will last for decades, their leaves casting shade and shelter over the crops below. These floating gardens are marvels of ancient engineering, crafted over countless generations by farmers who understood that working with nature brings better results than working against it. Each chinampa is built by layering reeds, branches, and rich mud from the lake bottom, creating soil so fertile it can sustain multiple crops throughout the year, feeding a great city while preserving perfect ecological balance. The creation of a chinampa begins by marking out rectangular plots in the shallow water, usually about 300 feet long and 15 feet wide, just the right size for one family to manage. Reed mats are laid down as a foundation, held securely by stakes driven deep into the lake bed, forming a platform strong enough to hold tons of nourishing earth. Branches trimmed from trees are layered atop the reed mats, forming drainage channels that keep water flowing freely, preventing soggy soil while allowing roots to drink deeply from the nutrient-rich waters below. Then comes the mud, scooped carefully from the lake bottom where it has gathered over centuries, black and heavy with decomposed plants and minerals washed down from distant volcanic mountains, the perfect earth for growing food. Along the edges of each chinampa, willows are planted, their flexible branches woven together to form living walls that hold soil in place while their roots reach deep into the lake bed, anchoring the entire island against storms and floods. These willows also provide wood for tools, bark for medicine, and leaves to feed animals, making every part of this garden alive with usefulness. You paddle slowly between the rows of gardens, your canoe gliding through channels just wide enough for easy passage, deep enough for fish to swim freely between the plots, carrying nutrients from one garden to another, pollinating water plants, maintaining the rich biological diversity that keeps the entire ecosystem thriving. Around you, workers begin their daily tasks, but their movements are unhurried, meditative, like a sacred dance performed in honor of the growing life they nurture. They speak softly, voices blending with the sounds of water and wind, creating a human harmony that enhances, rather than disturbs, the natural music of the lake. An elderly man kneels beside a plot of corn, studying each stalk with careful eyes, his weathered hands gentle as they adjust a support stake, remove a damaged leaf, and check the moisture in the soil around the roots. His every movement speaks of decades spent listening to the subtle language of plants, the vocabulary of color, texture, and growth that tells experienced farmers what the crops need. The corn here is teosinte, the ancestor of modern maize, smaller than the varieties you might know / yet perfectly adapted to this environment, able to produce nourishing kernels even in the thin mountain air. Each plant is a living miracle, shaped by generations of careful selection, bred to thrive in this man-made soil, resist the diseases of humid lands, and yield maximum nourishment with minimal resources. The kernels come in many colors: white, yellow, red, blue, black, and speckled patterns that resemble tiny works of art. Each color is a different variety, grown for special purposes, some best for grinding into flour, others for roasting and eating as snacks, and still others treasured for use in sacred ceremonies, where the corn's color carries deep spiritual meaning. Beside the corn, beans grow lush and green, their heart-shaped leaves forming a living carpet that shades the soil and helps keep moisture locked within. Their roots reach deep, drawing nitrogen from the air and releasing it into the earth where the corn can use it to grow strong. This is companion planting at its finest, a natural cooperation where each plant gives what the others need, creating abundance through harmony rather than competition. The beans come in many shapes and colors: tiny black pearls, large flat pods adorned with delicate patterns. Some mature early in the season, offering fresh food while other crops are still growing. Others dry slowly on the vine, ready to be stored for years, a safeguard against bad harvests and unforeseen troubles. Winding among the beans, squash vines spread wide, their broad leaves like green umbrellas sheltering the earth below. Bright yellow flowers attract buzzing bees and other pollinators. The developing squash fruits add another layer of nutrition and variety to the garden's bounty. But squash is more than food. It offers containers, tools, and decorations that enrich daily life. Every part of the squash plant is useful. Tender shoots and flowers become nourishing vegetables. Mature fruits store well for months. Seeds are roasted for snacks or pressed to release nourishing oils. The dried shells transform into bowls, cups, rattles, and containers to hold water, precious seeds, or other treasures. You pause by a garden where a woman harvests tomatoes, her hands gentle and deliberate as she picks fruits at just the right stage of ripeness. Her woven basket fills with globes ranging from pale green to deep red, each perfectly ready to eat, neither overripe nor underripe, balanced in sweetness and tanginess that make food a joy, not just fuel. These tomatoes are the ancestors of the many varieties now grown worldwide. But here, they are simply food, grown with love and patience by people who know that plants respond to the care and emotions of their gardeners. Gardens flourish under the hands of those who find joy in the daily miracle of seed becoming sustenance. The woman looks up as you pass, her face bright with pride in her work, her eyes shining with the deep peace that comes from living in tune with nature's cycles, from knowing her place in the great web of life that connects all beings. She offers you a perfect tomato, still warm from the sun, its skin smooth and glowing, its scent promising the rich flavors born only of fruit ripened naturally on the vine. You accept the gift gratefully, feeling its firm weight in your hand, breathing in its fresh green aroma, marveling at the kindness that turns strangers into friends, that transforms simple vegetables into symbols of community and generosity. Taking a small bite, you taste the complex harmony that comes only from slow, patient ripening, the sweetness of natural sugars, the gentle tartness of organic acids, the rich depth born of healthy soil and loving care. This is how food should taste, like sunlight, earth, and clean water, like the patience and love of the hands that grew it. The woman smiles, pleased by your joy, satisfied knowing her work has brought happiness to another, knowing the plants she tends with such care have fulfilled their purpose, feeding the community, strengthening bonds between neighbors, sustaining the abundance that lets civilization thrive. You paddle onward, following the gentle bends of the canal, passing gardens where families work side by side, parents teaching children the ancient skills of cultivation, grandmothers sharing wisdom handed down through generations. Parents share the wisdom of generations, creating an unbroken chain of knowledge that links the present to the past and ensures abundance for the future. In one garden, a grandfather gently shows his young grandson how to tell when corn is ready for harvest. He presses his thumbnail into a kernel to check its moisture, explaining softly how the plant signals its readiness through subtle signs only experience can reveal. The boy listens carefully, his small hands copying his grandfather's movements, learning not just farming techniques but a deep respect for the plants that sustain life. The old man's voice carries across the water, soft and musical, speaking in Nahuatl about the sacred nature of corn, how it was formed from the flesh of the gods, how humans were created from corn dough mixed with the blood of deities, how every kernel holds the essence of divinity and deserves respect and gratitude. This is education in Tenochtitlan, not limited to formal schools but woven into everyday life, passed down through example and story, through patient teaching and gentle correction. It is the understanding that knowledge without wisdom is empty, that facts without values lead nowhere worth going. Nearby, a group of women work together in a chilly garden, harvesting with careful attention to size and color. Their conversation flows like music over the water, their laughter bright as birdsong. Their movements are synchronized by years of shared labor, each knowing instinctively when to help, when to give space, when to encourage. The chilies they gather show incredible diversity. Tiny ones so hot they bring tears, large mild ones perfect for stuffing, wrinkled dried peppers concentrated with flavor, smooth fresh ones eaten daily. Each variety has been developed over centuries, adapted to specific conditions, prized for its unique role in the complex cuisine that makes Mexican food a true art. Some chilies are so fiery they must be handled only with wooden tools, their oils able to burn skin and eyes hours after contact. Others are so mild they can be eaten like fruit, sweet, refreshing, full of vitamins and minerals essential for health in this high mountain environment where fresh food is precious. The women speak with deep knowledge about which chilies pair best with certain dishes, which should be eaten fresh and which improve with drying, which store well and which must be used quickly. This is culinary wisdom born of generations. Knowledge not written in books but lived, tasted, shared in countless meals with family and friends. A young girl moves among the women, learning by watching and listening, asking questions answered with patience and warmth. She gradually absorbs the skills that will make her a valued member of the community, a keeper of traditions connecting her people to their ancestors and their land. Her eyes shine with curiosity as she learns the names of chili varieties, their histories, uses in cooking and medicine, importance in religious ceremonies. She discovers that food is more than fuel. It is culture made edible, history served on ceramic plates, identity expressed through flavor and spice. You paddle past a section where men repair reed walls holding soil in place. Their work requires both strength and delicacy, knowing that too much force could harm the living willows anchoring the structure, while too little effort would leave gaps, allowing precious earth to wash away. Their tools are simple yet perfectly suited to the task. Wooden paddles for moving mud, stone knives for cutting reeds, bone needles for weaving fibers. Each tool has been refined through generations of use, shaped to fit human hands, balanced for efficiency, and made from materials that can be easily replaced when worn. The repair work follows the natural rhythms of the lake, time to take advantage of low water levels, using materials harvested in their optimal season, working with the weather instead of against it. This reflects a deep understanding of environmental cycles that makes sustainable agriculture possible. One man explains how the reed walls must be flexible enough to bend with wind and waves, yet strong enough to hold tons of wet soil. The willows need pruning at just the right time to encourage healthy growth. The whole system depends on knowing the subtle relationships between plants, water, soil, and human needs. This is engineering without math, construction without blueprints, technology based on observation and experience rather than theory. Yet it works perfectly, has worked for centuries, and will continue for centuries more because it follows the unchanging laws of nature, the rules that govern how things grow, flow, live, and die. You notice a small shrine on one of the larger chinampas, dedicated to Xilanen, goddess of young corn. Her image, carved from volcanic stone, is adorned with fresh marigolds and morning glories, bright colors honoring the deity who ensures bountiful harvests. The shrine is simple but beautiful, a stone platform surrounded by rustling corn plants, their ears promising another season of plenty. Fresh offerings rest before the goddess. Tortillas made from last year's corn, cups of pulque brewed from maguey nectar, bundles of copal incense whose sweet smoke carries prayers to the heavens. Here, religion is woven into daily life, not separate from work but part of it. Successful farming requires more than technical skill. Abundance comes as much from spiritual harmony as from knowledge of soil and seed. Gratitude and reverence create the right relationship between humans and the forces governing life and death. A young priest tends the shrine, moving reverently as he arranges fresh flowers, lights copal incense, and speaks quiet prayers in the ancient language that links today's worshippers to generations of ancestors who worked these waters, grew these crops, and honored these deities. His voice blends with the sounds of water and wind, becoming part of the morning symphony, adding conscious gratitude to the unconscious song of growing things. It creates harmony between spirit and matter, divine will and human effort. You paddle on, your canoe following channels curving like rivers through the precise geometry of the garden plots. Each turn reveals new wonders, fresh examples of the ingenuity that built this floating paradise. New proof of what happens when humans learn to work with nature instead of against it. A family of coots swims across your path, their dark feathers shining in the morning sun, their red beaks bright like jewels. Their movements create small wakes spreading outward in perfect V-shapes before merging with the water's flow. Suddenly, they dive beneath the surface for long moments, then reappear yards away, their beaks full of water plants growing in the deeper channels. The coots represent the wildlife that thrives alongside human agriculture, benefiting from the abundance created by careful cultivation, contributing to the health of the ecosystem as herbivores and seed dispersers. They show that civilization and nature can coexist when humans understand their proper place within the intricate web of relationships that sustains all life. Water striders dance across the surface tension near your canoe, their legs creating tiny dimples in the water. Their movements are too swift for the eye to follow, yet their presence is a quiet reminder of the countless small creatures that make the lake's ecosystem thrive. They eat algae, feed fish, pollinate plants, and decompose organic matter, performing the invisible services that keep the great wheel of life in motion. Dragonflies patrol the channels between the gardens, their wings catching sunlight like stained glass. Their flight may seem random, but it is anything but, each pattern a precision hunt, helping to control mosquitoes and other pests that might damage crops or trouble workers. They are nature's allies, requiring no wages, asking only for space and prey, offering pest control beyond the reach of any human invention. You pass beneath a wooden bridge connecting two large chinampas. Its structure, like everything here, embodies principles of flexibility and strength. Built from water-resistant cypress wood, joined with wooden pegs and cords of woven fiber, it's designed to move with earthquakes and shifting seasons, lasting for generations with little upkeep. Children play on the bridge, their laughter bright as water music. Their games teach them balance and coordination, but more than that, they absorb the rhythms of lake life without knowing it. They drop flowers into the water, watching them drift on the current, learning about flow, movement, cause and effect, about how everything in this watery world is connected. One child, a girl of perhaps 8, waves as your canoe glides beneath the bridge. Her smile shines with the effortless joy of one raised in paradise. In a world where safety and abundance are normal, not rare, she radiates the intuitive sense that the world is a good place, full of wonders waiting to be discovered. Her wave is a gift, a moment of pure human connection that transcends age, distance, and circumstance. It reminds you that happiness is the natural state of beings who live in harmony with their environment, who understand their place in the living world, who have learned to marvel at the simple miracle of being alive. You wave back, heart lifting in response, feeling the quiet satisfaction of being part of a world where children can play freely, where abundance is shared, where the future feels hopeful because the present is built on wisdom and cooperation. The morning air is growing warmer now, but the breeze drifting in from the open lake keeps you cool, carrying with it the scent of water and green things. The fragrances swirl together into a perfume more complex and beautiful than anything humans could manufacture. This is the scent of Tenochtitlan: clear water, fertile earth, thriving plants, and blossoms releasing their sweetness to the rising sun. You catch the aroma of corn tortillas cooking on clay griddles in nearby homes, the warm, nutty scent of toasted maize blending with the rich perfume of chocolate ground with spices. Cinnamon and vanilla intertwine, speaking of far-reaching trade routes and wealth measured not in gold, but in the flavors that turn daily life into celebration. The chocolate comes from cacao trees that grow in the humid lowlands far to the south, their golden pods harvested by hands that understand the delicate mystery of fermentation, the slow magic that turns bitterness into something divine, into a drink once reserved for gods and nobles. The beans begin a long journey, carried across mountains and through forests, by traders who brave dangerous passes and unknown lands, all to bring a touch of luxury to the heart of the floating city. Vanilla orchids bloom in the shadows of tropical jungles, their flowers open for just a single day, so rare, so fleeting, pollinated only by human hands guided with care and patience. The pods take months to cure, drying slowly, darkening, becoming treasures that smell of warmth and memory, adding depth and sweetness to chocolate drinks that whisper of paradise. Cinnamon bark travels from even more distant lands, brought by merchants who follow ancient trade routes stretching across continents. Their cargo not gold or jewels, but fragrances that awaken the soul. Each morning, the bark is ground fresh, its scent rising like smoke from the earth, enough to flavor a whole clay pot of hot chocolate, enough to lift the spirit and stir the heart. In the shallows between two garden plots, a great blue heron stands perfectly still, its tall form reflected in the mirror of still water, like a spirit caught between two worlds. This patience is legendary, its stillness a lesson to all who live by the lake. The heron knows that the best moments come not through force, but through watching, waiting, and acting only when the time is right. To the people of Tenochtitlan, the heron is a teacher, an example of quiet strength and precision, a reminder that success flows from harmony, not haste. The Mexica people, like the heron, have learned to observe the world deeply, to move in rhythm with its cycles, to shape abundance from patience. A silver flash beneath the surface breaks the stillness. A fish strays too close, and in a blur of motion, the heron strikes. One clean movement, and the reward is earned. It is a perfect demonstration of what happens when skill meets timing, when calm waiting transforms into graceful action. The bird swallows its prize, then resumes its vigil, content to wait again, as it always has, as it always will. A symbol of focus, of endurance, of the strength found in stillness. You paddle onward into a wide meeting place where canals converge like gentle rivers, forming a quiet plaza ringed by green chinampas. This is the heart of social life in the floating gardens, where farmers trade stories of rain and root, where children laugh among dragonflies, where neighbors gather not just to work, but to celebrate what the earth has given. Canoes drift lazily nearby. No one in a rush, voices low and full of warmth, carrying tales and laughter across the water like drifting petals. Birdsong joins the murmur of conversation, and the rustle of leaves completes the morning symphony. An old woman smiles from her canoe and offers you a drink. Warm atoll asterisk made from ground amaranth and sweetened with honey. She hands you a polished gourd, its surface smoothed by generations, its contents thick and comforting. The amaranth tastes nutty, ancient, the honey golden and bright, as if it holds sunlight in liquid form. You sip and feel not just nourished, but welcomed into a world where care and tradition flavor even the simplest meal, where abundance is not hoarded, but shared, where life moves slowly, gently, in rhythm with water, wind, and time. Canoes drift lazily nearby. No one in a rush, voices low and full of warmth, carrying tales and laughter across the water like drifting petals. Birdsong joins the murmur of conversation, and the rustle of leaves completes the morning symphony. An old woman smiles from her canoe and offers you a drink. Warm atoll asterisk made from ground amaranth and sweetened with honey. She hands you a polished gourd, its surface smoothed by generations, its contents thick and comforting. The amaranth tastes nutty, ancient, the honey golden and bright, as if it holds sunlight in liquid form. You sip and feel not just nourished, but welcomed into a world where care and tradition flavor even the simplest meal, where abundance is not hoarded, but shared, where life moves slowly, gently, in rhythm with water, wind, and time. Amaranth is known as the grain of the gods, cherished for its resilience in poor soil and dry climates, for its nearly perfect nutritional balance, for its tiny seeds that can be ground into flour, popped like corn, or cooked into porridge to sustain laborers through long hours of physical work. The honey comes from stingless bees that nest in hollow logs placed thoughtfully around the gardens, bees that spend their days pollinating the crops and filling their wax chambers with golden sweetness. This honey requires no processing, no refining, only the patience to wait while nature does its work. As you sip the warm atoll, You can taste a faint trace of limestone used in the preparation of the amaranth, just as it's used to treat corn, soaking the seeds in lime water to boost their nutrients and make them easier to digest. It's technology disguised as cooking chemistry practiced by people who may not know the theories but have mastered the outcomes through generations of trial and observation. The woman who shared her breakfast speaks softly about the rhythms of garden life, how the early morning is best for harvesting, when plants are still full of moisture from the cool night air, when flavors are most concentrated, when the crops stay fresh longest after picking. Her knowledge isn't from books. It's lived wisdom, earned through experience day after day. She explains how each plant has its own time. Tomatoes are sweetest when picked in the morning, while they still hold the night's coolness. Chilies become their hottest under the midday sun. Herbs release their richest fragrances as soon as sunlight begins to warm their leaves. This kind of practical knowledge is what determines success or failure in agriculture, abundance or scarcity, food that truly nourishes versus food that simply fills. It's wisdom that turns farmers into partners with the land, rather than masters who struggle to dominate it. Others in the floating plaza add their voices, offering insights, discoveries, small innovations that improve yields, reduce labor, or simply make life in the gardens more pleasant. This is how knowledge grows in Tenochtitlan. Not through hoarding, but through sharing, not through competition, but collaboration, with the understanding that when one succeeds, everyone benefits. A young man offers a demonstration of a new reed mat weaving technique, how a slight adjustment in the pattern strengthens the structure against humidity, how beauty and function can go hand in hand, how tradition can evolve without losing its soul. Curious neighbors gather around, not as rivals guarding secrets, but as eager learners. Questions flow freely. Techniques are shared openly. Improvements are embraced without worry over credit or profit. This is civilization at its finest, where knowledge uplifts the community, where innovation is a gift shared, not a weapon hoarded, where cooperation nurtures wisdom the way the gardens nurture life. Just like the floating chinampas themselves, it's a system built on harmony, each element supporting the next to create a world of shared abundance. A butterfly lands softly on the edge of your canoe, its wings a vivid blend of orange and black, opening and closing slowly in the morning sun. It might be a monarch, one of the legendary migrants that travel thousands of miles to reach these mountain valleys, guided not by maps but by instincts older than memory, a delicate reminder of the vast world that stretches beyond this floating paradise. The butterfly lingers quietly for several minutes, a silent blessing upon your morning, beauty offered without price or reason, a living symbol of the kind of abundance that defines life in Tenochtitlan. Here, wonder is woven into the fabric of daily life. Miracles so frequent they begin to feel ordinary, until you remember how rare they are elsewhere. Eventually, the butterfly lifts into the air, vanishing into the tangle of morning glory vines climbing the reed walls of nearby gardens. carrying its quiet message of transformation to other corners of the lake, to other witnesses, to those who know that even a caterpillar can one day take flight. In Mexican culture, butterflies are sacred symbols of the soul's journey from this world to the next, of transformation and inner growth, of the radiant beauty that emerges when a being fulfills its true nature. To be visited by one is considered a sign of great fortune, a quiet promise that the day ahead may bring meaningful change. The morning sun now hangs higher in the sky, gently warming the air, burning off the last curls of mist that hover between the garden plots. The light shifts from the pale gold of dawn to a deeper, richer yellow, casting new shadows, creating fresh reflections, turning familiar scenery into something quietly astonishing. You begin to notice how the sunlight transforms everything it touches. Leaves glowing like translucent emeralds, water shimmering from black mirror to liquid crystal. Even the humblest vegetables appearing as works of art beneath this perfect light. It's this same light that inspires Mexica artists. The light they try to capture in paintings, sculpture, woven cloth. The light that makes every moment feel like a potential masterpiece. Nearby, water striders glide across the lake's surface, their slender legs dimpling the water with perfect precision, scattering light as they move in swift, deliberate dances. They are masters of balance, perfectly adapted to this delicate world. Their form and function refined over countless generations of evolution. Every movement is efficient, every action meaningful. They feed on small insects that fall into the water, playing their part in the lake's intricate food web, taking only what they need, while becoming food themselves for fish and birds. Their presence keeps the system in balance, one of many invisible links in the chain that ensures this ecosystem remains abundant and alive. Beneath your canoe, a school of small fish shimmers in the filtered sunlight, their silver bodies gliding in perfect harmony, as if choreographed by one mind. They feed on algae and insects, keeping the waters clean, nourishing the cycle that supports plants, birds, larger fish, and sometimes the people who cast nets into these waters. These fish are the lake's hidden wealth, the quiet prosperity beneath the surface, the foundation that supports the floating gardens and those who care for them. Alongside the soil, the seeds, and human knowledge, they form part of the web that sustains the civilization, that transforms nature into nourishment, water into life, time into wisdom. Another bird answers, then another, until the reed beds become a choir of ancient voices, a conversation older than language, a dawn prayer offered in notes instead of words, a reminder that each new day is filled with possibility for those who remember to listen. You rest your paddle across the canoe, letting the current guide your way. No destination in mind, only presence, floating through a vision of what life becomes when humans live not above nature but within it. When wisdom shapes action, when cooperation is not just a strategy but a truth woven into every choice. The breeze brings with it the scent of flowers, morning glories stretching open in purples and whites, water lilies unfolding on dark, still waters, marsh marigolds spilling golden light across the green canvas of the lake's edge. They bloom without permission, without promise of reward, offering only their essence in quiet celebration of the sun. Each blossom is a vow backslash of seeds yet to come, of food for bees and butterflies, of beauty that asks for nothing but space to bloom. This is nature's offering, abundance without cost, wonder without demand, gifts freely given to any who slow down enough to see, to smell, to be. All around you, the lake begins to sing. Paddle strokes and ripples, birds in hidden perches, voices of early workers carried on the morning air. Laughter and songs woven into the fabric of sound like threads in a sacred cloth. This is the music of paradise, not composed but emerged, not arranged but revealed. You close your eyes and breathe, letting the rhythm of the lake enter your body, your chest rising and falling with its breath, your heartbeat pulsing with its quiet life force. And in that stillness, you begin to feel yourself dissolve into the web that binds all things. No longer visitor, but part of the story. This is meditation without effort, prayer without words, worship with no temple but the living earth itself. No priest but your own quiet awareness. No ritual but the simple act of noticing. Noticing the beauty, the wonder, the mystery that surrounds you in every moment. If only you remember to look. Your canoe drifts with the gentle current, gliding past scenes of serene abundance, along waterways that connect floating gardens, to the open lake, toward whatever soft adventure may await, in this perfect world where humans and nature move together like dancers in a slow, sacred rhythm, a harmony too beautiful to seem real, and yet more real than anything you have ever known. The sun rises higher now, spilling deeper shades of blue across the sky, warming the air, awakening the daily rhythm of growth and change that keeps this world so full of life, so full of quiet purpose. From somewhere far away, a temple bell sounds, low and bright like a blessing, its bronze tones floating over the water, a reminder, this moment, this breath, this heartbeat is a gift, and as your canoe moves gently with the flow, your eyelids grow heavy, your breath deepens, your mind begins to let go of clocks and lists and names, of the language of waking life, and opens instead to the language of peace. The canoe rocks you softly, like a cradle. The water sings its lullaby. No words, only motion, only rhythm, only calm. The breeze slips through your hair like a whisper, carrying away the last bits of thought, leaving only stillness, only warmth, only the sweet relief of perfection witnessed. If only for a moment, your eyelids fall closed, and through them morning light pours in, like golden honey, melting your thoughts into sweetness, lifting them like pollen on the wind, soft, weightless, free from gravity, free from striving. You drift peacefully, gently, into a deep, resting sleep, cradled by the floating gardens of Tenochtitlan, watched over by the wisdom of the lake, held safe in the arms of a world where abundance flows like water, where flowers bloom in endless song, where peace settles like mist at dawn, and still the bells ring, and still the birds sing, and still the gardeners tend the earth with loving care, and through it all flows a quiet magic, the dream of a people who remembered how to live with the land instead of upon it, who discovered paradise not in a distant afterlife, but here, now, in the embrace of the floating gardens